Welcome to Pastor Fred's shop. I am Pastor Fred, which makes perfectly good sense because why would someone else be in my shop talking to you? You figure it out. Here's what I'm planning to do today. I need to build a Bible stand. Now, I call it a Bible stand. You might not. It's basically something that's going to hold a book up propped position. It might be for you a cookbook stand that sits on your kitchen counter and you can leave the cookbook open to your favorite recipe. If you're a musician, a guitar player, for instance, like me, I need places to set my sheet music so I can play. Now, sitting them flat on a table is not an idea because I get the crooked neck. So you can put this on your dining room table when you're practicing, set your sheet music on there, away you go. It's going to hold it at just the right position. But for me, what I'm finding is I'm not as young as I used to be. So I'm going to build this to set on my desk with my Bible on it. So when I'm typing away, I'm not hurting myself trying to bend over and look at what I'm typing. I know it sounds sad, but the old neck bone ain't what it used to be. So anyway, that's what I'm going to try and build today. Let's see if I can pull it off. Maybe you can help me along the way. Let's see what we can do. Now, because I knew I was going to be making this video today, the first video ever, welcome. But because I decided that I was going to make this video today, I decided I'd clean up the shop a little bit because it's a mess. So I went ahead and cleaned it up for you folks just because I knew you were going to be here. So what we're going to be using today is red oak. I know every YouTubing woodworker hates red oak. I don't. I happen to like red oak. I think it's really quite nice. That coupled with the fact that I got an absolutely smoking deal on rough cut red oak. I have to mill it up though because it is rough cut. So that's the process that we're going to do now. Okay, with the jointing and the planing done, I need to resaw these. That's always a little bit scary for me because my bandsaw is not capable of resawing. And that's really the safest way to do it. I have to do it on the table saw. It terrifies me every time I do it. It goes okay every time I do it. It scares me to death every time I do it. But that's my option. That's what I got. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. We'll see if we can get these down into a manageable thickness, and then we'll start putting this puppy together. So I never like to cut all the way through because kickback. So I got it down to, 16th inch. And maybe, just maybe, we can just cut the rest of it with this. Ouch. Don't put your hand on top of the saw blade. Maybe a clamp, maybe not, who knows. So now with a putty knife, I just drive it down in that 1/16 of an inch that did not cut, and it splits apart. I don't like cutting it all the way through. It's really scary. But you can resaw on a table saw. Be careful. We got a pretty decent thickness. Actually, I'm going to say we ended up probably closer to 3/8, and that's fine. I'm not building a castle. I'm building a stand to put a book on. So I'm going to go ahead and run these through the joiner, get them all flattened back out, get that ridge out of there from the saw blade, and then maybe, again, just maybe, we'll start putting this thing together. So that was a lot of milling in a very short period of time. And at this thickness of wood, I'm going to go ahead and let this sit and percolate overnight. Let it relax a little bit. It's a little bit angry right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I got it sitting up so that some air can get through it. Let it relax, let it have a vacation, whatever it wants to do. That's up to the wood. I don't care. So I'm going to come back tomorrow. Don't worry. It's overnight for me. It's a couple seconds for you. Not a big deal. Besides that, Penguins are playing a matinee game. They got to secure that playoff spot. I got to go root. And it's the pastor's wife's birthday today, which means I got to cook dinner. And I got to go get that started before she gets home from work. Or I'll see y'all in the morning. Okay, we are back in the shop. It is not Sunday. It's Monday, if I'm being honest, kind of my job. If you're wondering, birthday dinner was an absolute flop. It was terrible. Everything I made did not come out the way I wanted it to. Thank God for Pizza Hut. All was saved. On the upside, the Penguins won twice over the weekend. That's great. It's now Monday afternoon. What I did do last night, though, was I came out and I glued up some of these pieces to make them into panels so that we can actually start cutting our pieces out and getting them put together. So I did that last night. The glue is dry. I did a little bit of prep work to them. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the drawing and which panel is for what. And we'll get to see how this thing is going to go together. And here is the drawing, which you can't see. So this panel here is going to be made out of this panel here. And these two sides, these triangular sides, are going to be made out of this panel here. That's the plan, anyway. Now, this piece here is actually sitting over on the saw. It's already cut and ready to go. I don't have to do anything to that. We'll just add it when that time comes. So now that you know what we're going to try and do, let's go ahead and try and do it. So according to the drawing, my width on this should be 12 inches. That's going to suit the needs for what I want it to do. It's going to be by 8.5 inches. Well, I had a mark on it, but then I sanded it off. So we're going to go ahead and measure this out, 12 inches. Do it up here so I can cut it. Okay, that's my 12 inches. You know what? I'm actually going to square this side up just to make sure. So I'm going to make this 12.25. And then we'll get to the corner panels later. Okay, so we have spot on 12 inches, which is exactly what I need, but I need 8.5 this way. And yeah, we got 10 3/8. So we'll have to do a little bit of cutting on that just to get this down to the right size. I don't want the seam to be, you know, odd. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a little bit off of this side and a little bit off of this side, try and get that seam in the middle because I think it'll look better. That's the plan. So that's my top panel. We have to cut the two triangle panels, and I don't have a triangle jig for my sled, so might have to use the chopper saw there. We'll see how that goes. This is my chop saw station, probably the worst one you're ever going to see on YouTube. I slammed this thing together in like 5 minutes just because you can't see it. There's a set of stairs over here. Dust was just piling in there. So I built this just to sort of make that stop. And then I have a dust collection system, but when I have it on a 45, I can't hook it up. It's a big, long story. Anyway, so we got to do this without. So let's get this out of the way like that. I swear I'd lose safety goggles if I was holding them in my hand. Here we go. So I have my saw set to 45 because it's square conceivably. Great. So we'll go ahead and make these two cuts and we can start putting it together. Watch your fingers when you do this, okay? You want 5 when you get back. So if you saw what I did there, I didn't cut all the way through. I did on most of the places, but not all the way. There's a little tab sticking up there. What I was running into is it was wanting to bind up a little bit, and I didn't want it to bind up because then things fly everywhere and bad things happen. So I just stopped the cut, and I can just trim this. Actually, this is the scrap piece, so it doesn't matter. But now I can go ahead and clean these up a little bit now that that other piece isn't there. Okay, so I got them cut. Yeah, sure, pretty close. Tear out on the ends. I'll put that to the inside. I have options. It'll be fine. We'll talk about that saw and why tear out. But just to kind of show, okay, so this is going to go on this side like that. Still good, wonderful. Everybody loves everything. Okay, we'll kind of give you the concept here. Stand up and be counted for. Okay, these are going to stand this way. That's going to set like that. That one fell over. That one fell over. Anyway, you get the idea. It's going to be like that. Okay. And in this piece, it's going to come down here. That's what's going to hold the book or the Bible or the music or whatever you're using it for. So I think I'm ready to start gluing this thing together. I'm going to do some sanding before I put it together because it's easier for me. Might not be for you. It is for me. And then we'll start gluing it together. Did you see what I did there? That would have been dumb. There's no paper on it. How are you going to sand? You ain't got no paper. Pepe. Got to come up with a better design for this. Okay, so I have my pieces all set up. They're done sanding. I did make a small change, nothing major, but I'll show you what it is. On these triangular pieces, what I found was when I started putting this together, they were sticking out further than what they needed to. So that part where we had big chip out, I just went ahead and cut that off because it evens it up and it's no chip out. So we're just going to glue this up. I got my clamps all ready. And on this one, I'm using Type Bond Original. Use whatever you got. I'm probably going to shoot some pin nails in here just to kind of hold everything together. We'll see. That's a lot of glue. Oh boy, that was a lot of glue. Now, because this piece here has a very little bit of a bow to it, let me go ahead and tighten that one up first. Sure I am. Look at them go. Then we'll get these guys in there. That's going to just want to make a mess out of my life. So we're going to have to come up with a different solution here. That needs to be like that. I have an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I have an idea. I wonder if I just clamp the square to that. Maybe not. Maybe a different square. Maybe this guy. We'll try that. I have to come up with some kind of a solution to get this to not basically fold over, is what I need to do. So we'll get this a little bit to the middle. Listen, folks, I told you we were going to learn how to do this together. That's so crazy it might not work. Okay. New solution. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip these around. You know what I could do? Here's what I could do, and here's what I'm going to do. Hang on, I'll be right back. We'll just use some of these clamps instead, because I know that it's going to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay. Oh. Normally when you drop toast, it always falls butter side down. It didn't this time. Oh yeah, why didn't I do this in the first place? Somewhere in there. Actually, I didn't back these off from the last time I did this. So that'll give me a little bit of play. That's more better. Aha! Semi-successful. Just so it knows it's got pressure on it. That's what that's going to be. Because again, this isn't something that's structural. It's just holding a book. Okay. Oh, I see. I see the failure. Golly Moses, this is just, I'm literally falling apart at the seams here. Huh. Okay. Go through the hole. Put the acorn nut back on like it's supposed to be. I kind of like that. I think we're good. So I've gone ahead and taken it out of these clamps. It's had a little bit of time to set up. I've been gone maybe a half hour or so, but it, sets up. So don't do no dilly-dallying. I did get the pin nailer out. Just at this point, it's already setting up. It's probably going to be fine, but I'm going to go ahead and pin nail it anyway, just to make me feel better. There we go. What else that also allows me to do is that I can just go ahead and continue building and not have to stop, because that's going to hold it in place until the glue sets up, and that'll be fine. So now we're going to glue these together and pin nail them as well. Okay. Part of me thinks maybe I should run a stringer in between here. I think I have one. And then that would kind of help, you know, keep them all separated. Measure I need that 11 1/4. Let me cut that real quick. We might solve all of the world's problems with just that. Now, that kind of limits me a little bit as to what else I can do to this just, right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for maybe an hour or so. I don't know. See what it does. I do have a nailer, like an actual nailer, but I don't really want to. I'm afraid I'll start splitting stuff if I start shooting a bunch of nails in this. Doesn't mean I won't try, because I'm only human. So, you know what? Okay, you convinced me. I'm going to go ahead and try. What do you think? Just try it? I don't know. Tell me. All right, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, got the other gun out. This is 18 gauge. And see if I can break it. Golly Moses. What a difference. I mean, pin nailer, I mean, you can hear it. Authority. You can try to fight it, but it always wins. Okay. We got something that kind of looks like something. I think I'm going to go ahead and do just another quick sand on it and throw some color on it and see what we end up with. I'll show you when I'm done. So I got some glue squeeze out that I don't want there. And it's a tough place to get to. So I'll show you what I use. This is a Red Devil paint scraper. I don't even know if Red Devil still makes them anymore. And it's just a regular paint scraper. But, and I think this is the 1.5" model, but you can get you a file and you can sharpen these up. Then they become kind of like a card scraper in that regard. So I'm going to use that and try and get some of this glue squeeze out, gone, and then start the sanding process. Works pretty good. On to sanding. So when it comes to color, especially on red oak, I am a Minwax provincial guy. That's the color that I like. It's sort of a nice medium brown color, and the problem is big box store didn't have it when I was there. Now I have this Rust-Oleum wood stain that is true brown. It's very dark. So I think what I'm going to do is wipe it on and wipe it off, and hopefully that'll get me something close to what I'm looking for. The truth of the matter is it really doesn't matter to me what color this is. It doesn't even have to have a color, but I'd like it to. So if it doesn't come out spot on, it's not the end of the world. We'll start on the inside here. So a couple of coats of poly, and there it is. Is it perfect? No. Is it perfect for me? Yes. Friends, don't let greatness stand in the way of good enough. Thanks for watching.